Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow, take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Welcome to a semi-overnighter, and it is hot as fuck here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And guess what? By the end of between now and Tuesday, I've seen some projections. It may hit 120, which at 117 being our record, our official record, stay home. As much as I want you guys to come out over the weekend and visit me, I don't want you to risk your life to come see me, okay? Because I've been in 127 and 130 degree heat overseas with all kinds of stuff, wearing rucksacks and whatever, the body armor and shit that we had, all that stuff we had to worry, and we were just losing water. But we had the water there, and we had trained for it. The average civilian does not need to be in 120 degree heat at any point, unless you're being cooked like that turkey from Thanksgiving. And like I said, I am actually going to go get some eggs and bacon, and I am going to film it. I'm going to throw them off the balcony
on your dash.
Center. Yeah, and I'm going to put them on the ground and on the Sci-Fi Center, and I'm going to see how long it takes for them to burn to a crisp. I see Dracula in there, Narcosa Nosha. He's talking about where he's at. And it's still, like I said, it's hot. The sun's been down for quite some time now. It hasn't been shit, but
You're actually getting some rain here, so that's nice.
Yeah, no, fuck all that too. So I don't need any of that. I just got the air conditioner at the center to work. After the long odyssey, I just got it to work, and it's brand new parts and stuff. It's been sealed and everything. So hopefully, if there's any torrential rain, listen, like I said, I'm not swearing off rain altogether. I'm swearing off that shit we had last year. I can't do that. I can't. All right. So we are on the countdown to Comic-Con. This is our first July show, having taken last night off. I'm ready to go.
No, we picked a hell of a day to come back on.
Yeah, we got a lot.
I think William froze. Damn it, William froze. Okay. While we're waiting for William to come back on, let me go ahead and see some of you guys in the chat. And by the way, before we go any further, yes, as Ruth reminded me earlier, yes, we want to give a birthday shout out to Spidey. So happy birthday, man. Actually, I don't think I see you in the comments, but happy birthday. Hope you're enjoying a good birthday with family and friends, dude. Have a very tra birthday from the Sci-Fi Center, dude. But let's see. RJ saying enjoyed the 100. Yeah, it's crazy in Vegas. It's I've never been yet, but sure I'll be out there in the relatively near future. But God, 120. That just sounds crazy out in the desert like that. Sci-Fi Center this year, the time of the year, Las Vegas is between the sun and the earth. Yeah. No, we were officially also past the halfway mark in the year. So like, when you get into July, that's when you're in the second half of the year. So that's when you're getting that much closer to fall and the holiday season. So that's kind of the way I look at it too. Of course, we got 4th of July coming up. Independence Day. Of course, as we all know, as I like to say, it's not Independence Day. It ain't Independence Day without Independence Day. So anybody, well, I don't care if you're living stateside, American or not, July 4th. That's the day to do the Independence Day watch party. It's all everybody should be having that on all over the world. Every 4th of July. It's not July 4th. It's not Independence Day without Independence Day. I think it's something we can all agree on. No matter where you are, what cultural background, what nationality, wherever you come from, Independence Day. It is not Independence Day, not the 4th of July without Independence Day. We can all agree on that. Okay. It's the Brad show now. Okay, Williams coming back in. Good. I don't know what the hell that was, man. Yeah, you froze, man.
No, Cox internet just had an outage, an entire service outage.
Okay.
Listen, fuckers. Too much money. You guys have a monopoly on this speed of service. That's fine. But for what I pay, that shit needs to be batting 1,000 every time I go into it. All right. Your planned service outages, that means that I know about the plan. So this is some bullshit. You will be paying me back some money. All right. Where were we at? We were about to sort of jump into this.
Yeah. Well, actually, while you had that hiccup there, I did say, yeah, it's Spidey's birthday, so happy birthday to Spidey.
Where is
Sci-Fi Center? I don't see him in the chat, so.
No, I was gonna wait until I saw him in the chat because I don't have him on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if he's on Twitter actually, but he's in the Discord.
All right, I'll get him later.
Do you want to go ahead and just dive right into the thumbnail? Because, like I
well,
said,
here's the thing, though. I'm split because there's not. He gave a hint, and then Fandango reinforced the hint.
Oh,
but beyond that, there's no information on it, and I don't. This could mean, like I said, RJ brought it up in the chat as well. It could be an announcement of what the Egyptian theater thing that he's doing. Is he doing a Justice in Gray on? Yeah,
that's part of kind of the lead up. He's August 30th. He's going to be showing the Rebel Moon director's cuts there, and so he's kind of having a little bit of a marathon there. Where he's showing like 300. He's showing, I think Watchmen. I think Sucker Punch. And Z.
By the way, those tickets,
the Justice, and those sold out quick too.
Egyptian theater is not very big, and there was really no notice. Not that I don't feel bad because I would not have had a chance of going anyway. Reason being is that's my first weekend back from Comic-Con, and that's Star Trek convention, and I have interviews and stuff set up for the show with people to do with Star Trek. So, and like big ones too, not small, people who've actually worked on the show. So I can't, the adult in me couldn't even try to do that, even if they were available. But like I said, we will be doing something beginning that weekend in regards to our charity. So we will be active. I just won't be. My weekend in California will take place, and I need to be back at the store after 4 days of being gone from it. So, but yeah, I don't know what extent this is, and that's why I'm being real careful as far as like what kind of release are we talking about? Are we talking about this thing? Is he adding it on to this thing, or is this something that I can go out and get tickets to in Vegas? Or
and I mean, it was so crazy because I mean, like a lot of people, I basically woke up to this post, and I'm going to go ahead and try to pull it up from Zack Veros. So, but it was, of course, I mean, the reaction pretty much was what you would expect on social media and whatnot. And
I just wish I had more info. That's what I'm saying. I wish I had more info. Like, okay, because if it's say for instance, if it's a wide release, even if it's a limited release, but it's released across the nation for maybe like they did Pooh Blood and Honey type of deal.
Yeah.
To me, that's significant, and here's why. You don't do that. And we're not talking about a charity. So we're not talking about like what we did with Full Circle and things like that. We're talking about people actually taking their money out of their pockets and going to see this. So that's why I need more info, because if it's that kind of release, even if it's just for like 1 or 2 days, that's still a measurable. That's still a metric. That's still a metric that you could use in, then you find out, okay, so why did you? My next question will be, if you're gonna play it like one day and everything, why did you do it? Where is it going? Do you have any plans? Because the only time you did this like this was for, you gave permission to do it for the Full Circle thing. But if you're gonna do wide release, because you're the theaters have to be in on it. The theaters have to decide who's going to pay for promoting it.
Yeah.
So if it's Warner Brothers that's promoting it,
about it's so crazy.
Yeah. So if it's Warner Brothers that's promoting it, that means they're putting more money into it. Because theaters generally don't take your movie unless there's a promotion. Now there's special events and stuff like that. Like, Pooh Blood and Honey, they really didn't promote it as much, other than, the fact that it was out. So I'm thinking that if it were like that, we're only going to get like 1 or 2 days maybe, and limited, which is fine. That's still a measurable, so I need to know how wide a release this is. Is this just something that's being added on to his Egyptian theater thing? But then he said, stay tuned. So if you look at what he says here, it's theaters, it's plural. So that tells me that I have a shot here in Vegas to see it.
That's I'll go ahead and read off his post here for anybody who hasn't seen it. And I can't imagine there are many people who haven't at this point, but he posted July 2nd. Want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League on the big screen? Stay tuned for a date. And then not long after that, we got the news about the Rebel Moon event, and the Zack's the Justice Gray version is going to be part of the marathon leading into that. So that's, again, obviously it's still pretty vague here on details, which I think we all expect that from Zack at this point, in terms of the nature of him teasing and whatnot. And of course, then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up too, because I shared this with this is what really caught a lot of people's attention, mine included, is the fact that Fandango also shared about this, and I believe also IGN. I read about their coverage of it, because this is of course all over every outlet everybody follows. They reached out to Warner Brothers for comment on it. I don't think they've gotten anything back yet. So, but this of course, this really just added more fuel to the fire. With Fandango posting on their social media, stay tuned for a date. Zack Snyder just teases Justice League will be heading to theaters. And as Williams said,
and now with Fandango, I can't talk tonight, guys. I don't know why. Maybe it's a Benadryl. But when Fandango wouldn't get involved for just something that's going to be a local Egyptian theater type of thing, because that doesn't make any sense. Egyptian theater is not big enough. You wouldn't need Fandango for that. Fandango gets involved. Like, we worked for Fandango when we were helping promote Blue Blood and Honey and all that. And that's why we were able to give, you notice that sometimes I'm able to give away Fandango tickets, so they don't do one-offs. So, and if they do a one-off, it's like a one-off, like, okay, across America, a theater in your town is going to be doing this. Like
what they did with the Spider-Man franchise recently. They did,
So I mean, like I said, I don't want to jump to any conclusions yet, because I don't have enough info. But just based on the fact that Fandango would even mention it, that they're not going to just drop that mention. Fandango's in it. Whatever it is, they're running it. They're not careless enough to do that. To me, it can't hurt anything. It can't hurt anything. If the market is truly out there for people, if the desire is out there, then we will see it on whatever day this is. And if anybody who's all the hashtag and stuff like that, you know what, this going to this and
put your energy into this, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, no hashtag is going to mean anything unless the company who puts the money behind it thinks that people are actually going to show up. I could type a hashtag right now and it wouldn't mean shit. But me showing up to someplace, me taking money out of my pocket, especially if it's a Fandango, if it's a one-nighter type of what are those things where they do them?
Fathom events.
Fathom events. If it's something like that, it's probably going to be up there in price. So if you're charging $16, $17, $18, which is what I paid to go see both Pooh's Blood and Honeys, then, and if you are able to sell a lot of tickets during that, then we no longer really need to, state any. Like I said, I've always told people that you have to talk in the language of the people you want something from, and this is right now. This is how
they are now, potentially giving us the forum to do that through. Which again, and now, I mean, we should be clear also when we say that I think William froze again. He's going to be yelling at his internet company tomorrow, I have no doubt. We should be clear that, I would anticipate if this is, with Fandango posting about it, and if this is like some kind of like, nationwide, limited theater run of, over a weekend or some limited time frame. It's no, we should. Okay, you're back. Good. Because the point I was making is that we should be clear. It's like, you should not expect, the fandom should not, and Warner Brothers themselves do not expect, like $100 million opening weekend. They're not going to expect or set the bar for like blockbuster numbers unless they actually did like a blockbuster level promotion. But that said, this is still, they still can, they still can gauge the proportionality of that in terms of like the turnout, something like this, if this is what this is going to be, would theoretically get. And that goes exactly in what William is saying about, okay, if you want to see if you're hashtagging about this, this is your currency to, talk directly to this company about, this universe and this set of characters in this story and what they should do with it. And going back a little bit further, of course, we had, the thoughts kind of occurred to me because we got the news, about a month or so ago that about the 300 prequel series that that is in the works, that Zack is in talks to do with Warner Brothers, and even before that, going back to full circle, he spoke on the Vodka stream. He spoke very highly of the new Warner Brothers administration, specifically Pamela Abdi and Michael DeLuca, and their role in helping organize the Full Circle event. And he talked about they've been very kind, they've been very accommodating. I couldn't have done it without them, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously, all of that collectively to me, that's really, you talk about just how fractured his relationship with the studio was in the the debacle behind the scenes with the reshoots and whatnot, and that's always been pointed to logically so as a roadblock to A, getting the movie out in the first place, and B, getting anything further from it out. So all this together suggests to me that if this is what they're going to be doing with it, even if it's like a one weekend or 2 night or that kind of thing, it's still, all this collectively suggests, okay, the fences are being mended between him and the studio. I mean, I'd say all that just all this together just says it's like, yeah, they're really trying to sit down and break bread again, even if it doesn't mean like anything immediately comes out of it. It's still like there was, I mean, he did, other than between Dawn of the Dead and Rebel and Army of the Dead, everything Zack did was with Warner Brothers, and so obviously that shows, that indicates a very strong working relationship between him and the studio, and that of course got very that was left in tatters by the Justice League behind the scenes debacle. So this points to they're trying to get back on not just speaking terms but also working terms, and then adding in what this could be as far as like a theatrical release of it. As William said, you want anything further out of this is how you talk to the studio. So if you're hashtagging, it's time, break out, put your money where your mouth is. When we get, if and when we get a date and details and what else is supposed to come out of this.
Now, also, there's a flip side to this reality too. They could put this out there and it may not get the viewers that we all think it is. But we won't be able to, one way or another, we're going to know whether there's still marketability in it, because these aren't like the streaming numbers from 4 or 5 years ago or 3 years ago when you really had to wait. Now that this is there are reporting agencies and places that report box office, and we can find those real easy. That won't be a problem to find those. So we'll, if it works out, then you'll find out that there's a lot of people that are still interested and it's still worth the investment. But like I said, be careful, because you could find out that it's the other thing. You could find out that, you know what, maybe it's us. Maybe it's because we stare at the screen every day and we love the movie and we love the director, that we have outsized and blown up just how popular it is. But once for all, though, if they were to do this in a release in this manner, you would know. You would know, because you'd be able to measure, okay, well, if I put it in 400 theaters across here and it did this amount of money, and at this price point, at this age of a movie that was released in 2021, and we're here in 2024, headed into 2025, you're going to be able to weigh all that against each other and find out. And if the data is there, then like I said, then we no longer have to, we don't have to guess. That's the one thing about it. Even if they don't go any forward with, you're going to know whether this was something that still has staying power. And then you can make any decision-making process should always go from actual data instead of hearsay and bullshit. And this is just one more thing. And not only this, they can also look at their own streaming numbers that they have. This has been on their streaming service since March of 2021. They've also sold physical media. So this may be one way or another.
This is like the last piece of the puzzle in terms of the revenue of it.
Yeah, because when I sit down in the office, I'm not just going to have this box office report. I'm going to have how did the glow in the dark Blu-rays that we had about a year ago sell? How is this selling? How is this selling? How is it doing on streaming? And we should be able to form a composite of where the market is in the language that they speak in, not fanboys, not the anti-Snyder move on crowd or the Snyder bros. Our language doesn't mean shit. The actual language of the people who would actually push this forward. We need to know what they think. And if they come at it, if we get data that says, you know what, it just doesn't support it anymore, against the number it would cost to conclude it. Because I'm a resolve guy. I'm not a continue guy. But if the numbers come out and said, hey, you know what, we have enough interest, or we know we can do one big wrap up thing and we can make money on some more format. And that's it. Bam. That's all I want. I don't want, I don't need an elongated thing unless you're going to do it in comic book form. Then you have plenty of a platform to do. But if we're ever talking about anything that's in motion, expect anything we get, whatever inch we get more to be a goodbye. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I would want it. I want it to be resolved. I want to be able to look at this and gleefully tell people, hey, what do you think when they ask me, what do you think about this DCU coming up? And I don't have this incomplete thing in there. And I basically have to lie to somebody and say, hey, everything's going to be okay. Dive in head first. There's no water in the pool. But if I have this resolution here, I have, this is the foundation that was here. And this was what's happening new. Beginning, middle, end. There you go. Now let's get ready for this thing. You are what your resume says you are. And right now we have an incomplete, very sloppy resume. Who knows what this could be? Like I said, but be prepared for any eventuality. Be prepared that there's just not enough interest. That ends it. That puts a lid on it. And be prepared for the fact that, there might be data. One way or another, whatever the decision makes, good or bad, will be based on actual numbers and not some fuckheads like us on YouTube and Twitter just screaming at each other, or doing a hashtag.
Yeah. We got a couple super chats for
Forth.
He's clearly joking here, by the way, guys. There's no way they're going to re-release ZSJL based on this. This is because of backlash of Guns Here and Sins. Yeah. So he's just forthing. He's just forthing, guys. What do you think, Hortz? He's just he's just playing. But thank you for the super chats, though.
Thank you for the support. He stands to win here big. The people talking about DC in a positive light going forward only benefits this new DCU. Not just with people, the average guy, which is the big bulk of us. But a lot of people who, like I said, are not the extremists, but are like me on the fence. Be like, hey, you know what? I'm waiting. If you start the conversation going right now about DC in general positively, he can only benefit from that. Yeah. If we start having positive things
Gun and Corn Sweat.
Yeah, Gun, Corn Sweat, and you, as long as it's a goodbye. If you say goodbye in the right way, it leaves the door for you to say hello at all. Yeah. So I think Gunn would, and you know what you do when you do this? I wish it was, I don't know when this is going to happen. If it happens, make sure you have the trailer for his movie ready.
Oh, for his Superman movie?
Yeah. That should be a vehicle while you're showing this and giving, say, hey, you should be doing two things. Let me know that I'm going to get a 12-issue maxi series that you'll eventually be able to buy at the Sci-Fi Center for cheap. Or let people know, hey, you know what? Based on this, we're gonna give you get 2 hours. If you told me that I get 2 hours to wrap up everything that's been hanging over our heads for 7 years, I'd fucking take that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And I would prefer that because I'm ready to say goodbye, but I'm also ready to be complete with it. So, but at the end of that, at the end of this, you make an announcement saying, we're going to give you one shot, bam, it's over with. You know, the conclusion of this.
RJ kind of has the same train of thought here. I don't know. Do you think that do you think that
beautiful.
Well, do you think that there is a chance that that's actually something they discussed, like part of this?
If smart minds were in the room, I'd say yeah. Because remember, anything I come up with, smarter people have already come up with, whether they execute it or not. But dude, I would probably be tears in my eyes because, like I said, you're wrapping up one, and you're using what has come before to propel you. And you're not going to get all our Snyder Bros. You're not going to get us all. But if you get any significant amount, you know, we don't make up the majority of the universe, but a lot of people do hear you. A lot of people do hear us, even if they're not us. They do hear us. And if they hear something better than what they've been hearing, I mean, I would do that. I would have a trailer. I would if I'm Gunn, I say I do this down the line. And when these are in the theaters, you announce two things. Some way, some form, we're going to conclude this. By the way, here's a trailer for July 11th, 2025. You leave that theater with
excitement
for two different universes.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of of two minds about the idea, like whether or not this is like a surprise, kind of like Trojan horse way to announce, like, you know, and we're gonna, you know, at the end have like, you know, like what they would do with Marvel and saying like, oh, this character will return. If they had like a tagline saying the Justice League will return for their final adventure, kind of thing. Whether or not if that's actually what is going to happen, or whether they discuss that, or whether it's going to be we're putting this out there to put our feelers out there to see if we can announce something like that. I'm kind of 50-50 on that, but I can go either way on whether or not I could see it as, you know, this is they play the movie and like the end credits say, oh, by the way, final chapter coming, and also James Gunn Superman coming, or they put this out there to gauge the data, because then once they've had a theater run for it, other than just, you know, like a one-off kind of theater run, but like an actual, like, you know, people, you know, in substantive numbers get an opportunity to see it, then again, like I said, that's the missing piece of the puzzle in terms of the revenue stream on this movie. So, you know, once you plug that into everything else you already got, you know, then you can determine, okay, what else can we do with this? So yeah, I can see either way, where it's like either argument for this is, you know, the vehicle to announce that, or this is the vehicle to gather the data to announce that. I can go either way on that, but they both sound plausible.
Here's the thing with Warner Brothers, and like I said, I know we got the people who anointed themselves geniuses on what Netflix would do, or what DC would do, or what WB would do to Netflix, and all this other nonsense. And I like I said, I almost took giant Q-tips and jammed them in both of my fucking eardrums, hearing people who are smarter than what the shit that they were saying say some of the dumbest shit over that period of time. They would never do that. You guys are delusional. All the dumb shit. And it's like, I'm hearing the same stupid shit, just different voices and different YouTube shows. So I just stopped listening. And I would always ask them, well, based on what? Well, they just never would. Well, based on what? You know what you know. If you're a plumber, you know about plumbing and maybe some other stuff. If you're an electrician, you know about electrician. I'll listen to you about electricity. But if you're not sitting in the boardroom of a studio, I don't give a fuck about what you have to say. At least I'm not going to take it seriously. But what this could also do, and like I said, in the time that those people made themselves look like absolute fucking buffoons, Netflix and all these other companies have sold shit to each other like it's crack. So here's more data. This could be Warner Brothers not doing anything to it. This data could not even be for them. This data could be like, do they want to run up a price for somebody else to purchase the rights to do it?
Maybe, yeah.
And this could be like, okay, we just put
this could be about leverage for them, yeah.
Yeah, this could be part of a negotiation between them and whatever, Amazon, whatever, saying that, you know, because Amazon, it's viable for us. You know, it's been a few years. You know, we got this new thing going on, and they're saying, okay, well, we just slapped this in the theater, and just a mention of it, this is kind of money you do. And then now they go back to whoever they'd be licensing it to and say, hey, let's Cape Crusader to the shit and put it on here. Here's our price, because our price is dictated by these fanatics went out and fill these theaters.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, you'll hear the people like, it's never gonna happen. I'm like, only dummies say never when it comes to anything that happens with a transaction. So
what RJ says right here is absolutely not the words of a dummy. Come on, it's time to either put up or shut up, show up and support this re-release if you care about it. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, man. It's like if you want to put a bow on this, this is how you show the company you want to put a bow on this. And again, we still got to wait for the details, because it's still,
because it could, like I said, this could be disappointing. That's why I was like on the fence about, because like I said, it could be like a 1-day thing in LA which nobody can get to, or it could be 1%. I mean, but like again, I said, Fandango's involved. That's the part that
that's the kicker. That's the thing where it's like, I mean, they're because again, they're not going to be. You don't need Fandango for like a one-off event like Full Circle, because we're the only like a few hundred people at most will be able to attend, and it's a local thing. So yeah, that's the real kicker for me, is like, okay, again, they're not going to put out something like this unless they feel confident, or if they have inside knowledge that that there is some kind of larger thing at work here. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to be like dissecting and speculating on this for quite a little bit here until we get more details. One super chat here from Fourth. All super chats you read in their entirety. There you go, I read it in entirety, man.
Yeah.
RJ has a couple here.
Did you not read one? Did you not?
It's just the ones he said about like, they did this because everybody had the corn sweatsuits, so they had to announce the Snyder Cut was going to theaters. Like, no, he's just fourthing, guys. He's just being fourth. It's like that. That's not how you make business decisions, okay? If I thought David Cornsweat's Superman suit was the worst one that's ever been designed, that I would not believe that they decided to re-release Zack Snyder Justice League based on that. So yeah, it's just fourth, having fun there. RJ also says, I would not be shocked if the playing of ZSJL in theaters is directly tied to the talks with Zack about doing 300 prequel series or a DC Elseworlds film. Zack is the theatrical release, and he gives WB the work at the studio they want. Yeah. I think
Stone Quarry puts up. They don't have to put up the money, because Stone Quarry could get Legendary. They can get the money for their movie. So WBD is, they could come out. Like I said, they could come out clean on this one. Ruth. Wow, you must have read my mind.
Oh yeah, because I was talking when you had your hiccup there, I was talking about it as I like to phrase it. It ain't Independence Day without Independence Day. So
yeah, we will be streaming Independence Day at roughly, I'm gonna say 8:30 on 4th of July.
Woohoo!
So I will get the thumbnail ready for that one. That'll be fun. I mean, it's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Also, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to be watching Acolyte. I'm also going to be watching Actual F, because that got released 22 minutes ago. So I really want to watch that.
Yeah. RG also has another thing here about kind of what I was saying about like building bridges back up. Whether you like Zaslav or not, he did say one of his goals was to repair the relationships with filmmakers that was damaged by previous regimes. They made strides to do that. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I've been fair when it comes to Zaslav. I think he lies a lot. Or I don't know if lies are harsh words. I just think he tells people whatever they need to hear to get the fuck out of his face, type of deal. And I don't like some of the stuff that he's done. But what have I always said when it comes to Zaslav, the Zaslav regime versus his predecessors? He has not done. I don't think he will ever do enough to where I would ever wish those fools to come back. So, as much criticism as I've had levied towards David Zaslav, that's I know it's because I'm not ever going back to the Hamadas and the Sarnoffs and the Emiraks and the Tishaharas. I know that. I know that's not happening again. So, like I said, if you gave me a choice of those two in administration, it's Zaslav in a heartbeat with flaws. So.
Yeah. So, is there anything else we haven't broken down about this? Because again, it's still it's a Zack Snyder tease. So I mean, he knows what he's doing when he makes these teases. Very over these last few years. I mean, I think he's demonstrated that. I mean, the man just is his own marketing machine, and he's damn good at it. So, he knows how to like just drop like a little nugget and just watch it go supernova, on the social media.
There's no okay. What do you mean the distribution cost? Yeah, I need you to explain that because when you own the distribution rights, there's no cost for Warner Brothers on this. So yeah, that's the whole thing of being distribution. You make your money off the top. You don't. Yeah, there's no distribution cost for Warner Brothers Discovery. There may be distribution worked into. Yeah.
Yeah, but by the way, Aaron actually kind of alluded to some envy here, yeah, right here, because there has also been a lot of questions raised today about whether this would just be nationwide or would be international. Unfortunately, I'm inclined to think it would just be stateside. Unfortunately, Aaron. So, I mean, but I mean, who knows? I mean, they could have like a like a grander kind of thing in the works here.
I wouldn't be thinking any of these people because none of them would be the ones to maybe Abdi and DeLuca, but
I think they would be the ones who are like most directly involved in something like this.
Yeah, but I think it would be at the behest of Zazoff, just to see if there's something marketable that he can sell. I don't think gunning that. I mean, they're going to know about it, and I wouldn't mind them being involved. Because if I'm them, I use what has gone before to pave the path for what is coming in the future. But I don't know what their involvement would be because they're pretty much within when it comes to Gunn and Safran, their power is within DC Studios.
Yeah,
and this is outside of DC Studios.
Well, and again, that's why I go back to when Zack is, when it comes to Abdi and Lucas specifically, like he is, again, he's on camera talking, very complimentary about them, even the Full Circle event, and I think most people are surmising they're very likely, key players in the whole 300 prequel news. And so now you add this into that. It's like, that's been my assumption. It within Warner Brothers, they're probably the players who are most directly involved with this. I mean, James Gunn obviously is aware, and he's obviously.
Yeah. I don't think he's in the conversation unless they're talking about using this to promote his movie. Then yeah, he would be. But as far as like yay or nay goes, I think he might be bought in at some point, but the actual decision making is going to be three people. It's going to be Abdi, DeLuca, and Zaslav. Now I would love for an environment where they're all working together because, like I said, there's no reason why we can't use the foundations that we have, to connect them to what's going on here. It's DC. It's all DC. So that's what
you also real quick. I'm going to bring this one from RJ before I make my point. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people are suggesting this would be like a Fathom event type thing. I do hope it's good that there's an IMAX part of it, though, because, man, I'm desperate to see this movie in IMAX because that's what people saw in Full Circle. And, I mean, everybody, Scott from Squadcast, Film Junkie, Phil, everybody who was there who's seen it just talked about how just absolutely breathtaking.
Because it gets released in these things that are gone in 5 minutes. Nobody's going to really have a chance to go. See this right here? You would actually have a chance to go to it, So,
RJ also says if they release ZSJL like one of the anime films, like same wide release number of theaters given to a Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball, Super Broly, can make a big backpack box. Yeah, and again, going back to what I was saying a minute ago, it's we should not, and they most definitely are not for. They are not setting their expectation of, okay, if we don't get 200 million opening weekend on this, it's like that's the bar for because that's fundamentally unreasonable and especially for the circumstances of this movie. Again, you're not going to get blockbuster numbers unless you drive this like a proper like summer blockbuster. But when you scale it, when you look at it in terms of proportionality, that's where when William's talking about the data that they could draw from this, and then cross-reference with what they already have with with streaming and home media and the variant covers of comics and merchandising and whatnot. That's what they would look at. And when I go back to whether this would be like this is the vehicle where they say, okay, we are going to wrap this up, or whether we're going to put this out there as an experiment to determine the viability of wrapping this up. Again, I both are perfectly valid. I think both you can argue very easily either way. I think I slightly lean towards the latter, just because I feel like when what you talked about, it's like they need data to determine what they can do with this, what format it would take, what
they can charge for it.
Yeah,
what kind of price can they charge for it? Because if Amazon,
or whether or not this is a licensing thing, what the duration of it would be, all of that. So that's where I lean slightly towards the second one, but I can definitely see. I mean, it's not an illogical reading of it to say also that this is meant to be a surprise announcement for a larger endeavor to conclude the Snyderverse, basically.
Like I said, as long as we're realistic, I mean, and this is really what it needs to be, because all I want, like I said, I think a conclusion, it fits, and it does a lot of good things for the brand. But yeah, this announced a comic book continuation, that I would be okay with that. Yeah, that would be okay with that, because that gets the ball rolling. And that's data.
You've also talked about because I mean, obviously, in as part of the initial plan, he planned. We talk about had things not gone to hell in a handbasket with. Again, that's more detail. That's more it's going to be black and white at the Rebel Moon marathon that he's doing. But as far as like what this is, if this is what they're doing, then we're still waiting on those details. But going back to again, what this was, whole franchise was planned to be, as we all know, before all the behind the scenes trouble started. It was planned as like a 5-part arc of Man of Steel, BVS, and a Justice League trilogy, with spin-offs linking into that for the individual characters. So my reading of what William is saying is like, okay, we're trying to launch this new universe, but we don't, potentially with this, the idea is that, okay, but we want to do that, but we understand there's all this baggage that's limiting the potential of that. We don't want to have that. So it sounds like you're saying you find a way to like take the story as we know it and and condense it into something that would tell that story, but it would do it in a very streamlined way where it's like, okay, let's get this out like as much of like just a just big fireworks show of this is where it's all led to. We're going to just funnel it all down into this and get it all out there all at once for everybody, whether it's comic form, whether it's like mini series on Amazon, or what have you. But yeah, it sounds like what you're suggesting is take things like like elements of like the Batman versus Deathstroke movie and the Nightmare story and really just trying to find a way to funnel that all into like one kind of streamlined sort of thing you could like package very easily and put out.
Yeah, if you do it in a maxi series, so say the spine of the series is the Justice League story, and that's your 1 to 8 or your 1 to 12 issue, but you want to have a side story, like I said, the 3 Legions. I mean, things like that happen. You have the major series and you have offshoots that happen while that's going on. So right now we have the main story that we know what we're going through. But if we want to go into details of it, we have like a 3-issue miniseries with Wonder Woman, Battle of Themyscira, that one that we saw in the Vision. We have the Flash is going on the cosmic treadmill, and then everything leads back to the main story. But you have as many pages to tell because they're all coming out. One of them's coming out every month, but you also have these sub stories that you have that you could be telling the story. So you're not limited with just a few hours of screen time here or there, whether it be on animation. You have as much time to tell the story you want to, as a way you want to tell it. And if somebody adapts it from there, then more be it. But at least it's out there.
But this also just well, let's read RJ's comment first.
Then I'm going to start reading Antonio's because I've been ignoring him.
Okay.
Who's going to put up the money to fund it though? Live action animated wouldn't W? No, they never do. That's the cool thing about owning the distribution rights. You don't ever have to. Would it be WB putting up the money or a third party to distribute? Or all right, so how this works is the Warner Brothers is the distributor. They will not give that up. They will never give that up. That's part of owning the IP. However, the financing can come from somebody else, like with Dune, for instance. Dune, Warner Brothers doesn't put up the majority of the money for Dune. Legendary does. Legendary puts up 75% to 80% of the money for Dune. And then they make their money back off of the top dollar profit. So they get their money back plus more. And then after they get to the money that they lent out, then Warner Brothers makes the money off of the distribution. The distribution money and their percentage of the theater, all that comes back to them. So Warner Brothers, most for the most time, Warner Brothers doesn't put up They didn't put up the money for Black Adam. I mean, they put up some money for Black Adam, but a lot of that was $7 theaters and other people, a New Line, and all that stuff. But usually you have a financier like Harvey. That's literally Harvey Weinstein's whole point of existence.
Or was his whole point.
There was, but when I bring up Harvey Weinstein, I'm not talking about his.
We know.
But Harvey Weinstein, the Weinstein Company, that's literally was their job, was to gather the money for these productions. That's why when you see them Academy Award winner, it's the producer and it's those people, because without them the movie doesn't get made. But usually he makes movies for Warner Brothers and all kinds of other places, but it's not the studio's money most of the part. The studio gets people, investors in on it, and then they make their profit off of what comes out on top.
Yeah. And now where's one from Antonia you want me to go and pull up?
Let's see. Hold on. Okay, I guess they're talking to each other.
And by the way, because this thought occurred to me too, with Comic-Con coming up, do you think this potentially could be something that we might get details about at Comic-Con?
I don't know, because I don't know what kind of studio presence is going to be there. I know that he's not going to be there. He may be there in spirit, as far as like dropping and saying hi and doing some outtakes or something like that. But I don't think James Gunn or any of the actual people. Yeah, I don't think James Gunn or any of the people from Superman are going to be there. So they may. It all depends. Like I said, this is all too new. I don't want to jump to any, but it's all too new. We could wake up tomorrow to a totally different situation and be really disappointed about what we're actually getting. So I really don't want to.
So but yeah, it's just it's the possibilities that could come out of this are definitely if this is what they're doing. If this is what they're doing, the studio's putting out an olive branch in a way that the previous administration just didn't care to do and didn't have the business sense to do. In terms of you've got this, you've got your first ever cinematic Justice League movie here. So again, the circumstances of its release are very unique to say the least, but. This in my mind, this is them putting out an olive branch saying, "Here,
it's a test."
Yeah, exactly.
It's a test. Here's the thing, though. This is where Warner Brothers has buried themselves and fucked themselves over, as they didn't ever do this.
Yeah,
we were never really given an opportunity to see something whole and show up to something whole. We got bits and pieces and crumbs and saying, well, why aren't you guys showing up for these bits and pieces and these crumbs? Well, because you promised us a whole fucking meal. What are you supposed to do? Starve to death on your crumbs until we get it? So this now, if this is what's happening, that's great. But if this had happened before, and you had the people in place to understand what that data means, we would be in a different world right now. I don't think the fans have to come to terms with anything yet, because they've never been given the opportunity to even provide this data. Warner Brothers shutting things down was not something we should have ever had to come to terms with. They did what they did based on things that had nothing to do with business. That's why they're gone. That's why my stock is at 7 whatever, and that's why this company has gone through what it's gone through. So hopefully going forward, this is something. This should have happened. What we're speculating might be happening needed to happen about 6 or 7 years ago. I'm happy it's happening today, but that's on them for waiting so long to do this.
Yeah, and going back to obviously like the with the previous administration. A lot of the maybe not the reasoning within their own minds or internally, but definitely a lot of the public reason they gave was the fact that the fandom has legitimately had a lot of psychos really kind of push their way to the front of the line and use tactics and means and rhetoric that are fundamentally not productive for pursuing something out of this. And again, it's like it's not to excuse any of that behavior, but that's not how you make business decisions. And then of course you add in all the other just flawed, terrible decision making they had within that. So
no, what I'm saying is when I bring up Weinstein, I'm not giving a shit about what he's in jail for. I'm talking about Weinstein Productions. When there's a topic to be talked about his extracurricular activities, that'll be a stream that'll probably never happen. But when we bring up Weinstein here, it's what he meant to the actual production of a movie. And like as an example, him, Legendary Pictures, people like that, their jobs was to gather funding and fund these movies, and then make back money. And the people who invested, they get their percentage back plus 30 whatever percent, and that's how these movies get made. So when when a movie that Legendary and DC work together on, Legendary does the majority of the funding, their investors put the money up front. They get that money back first dollar plus a percentage. That's their profit, and then the rest of the profit goes back to Warner Brothers. But when you're just a distributor, you put up the least amount of money, so you have the profit. You're the one that's guaranteed to make a profit.
Fourth has an interesting question here. Come on. If the Snyderverse continues to take over with Ezra Miller, I'm going to say yes, because and part of that is because there are people who have gotten into worse controversies that have made comebacks. Case in point, Jonathan Majors is already making his comeback. It's not as Kang, but he is he's doing stuff again now, and now obviously also that's also without answering the question like what format this would take if they were to do anything further.
There might not be a use for him to come back.
Yeah, if it's a comic book, then you don't need anybody other than just use their likeness.
And cartoon would be the same. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, simply because even if he's exonerated and the things that he has been involved in don't turn out to be not a big deal, it still may be a headache that a studio doesn't want to deal with. If there's another option to where there's no headache, they're going to probably choose that because making a movie is difficult to begin with. And when you have to deal with, same thing with Jonathan Majors may be selling out of court and end up not doing one day in jail. And it doesn't mean Disney will ever do business with him again, simply because even whether he's guilty or not is irrelevant. It's does he bring things to the forum that don't need to be there? So that's a decision that they would have to make. But I don't think the Snyderverse is going to continue. I think it would be concluded. And I think like I said, if they're thinking business, they should seamlessly integrate the ending of one universe and the beginning of another. That's really what the tagline should be. And whatever way he's going to make Peacemaker seasons 1 and 2 canon and all that could actually be part of it. Because that part of those guys exist in the same universe as Zack Snyder's produced characters do. So I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not in the room, but yeah, I am personally, if you came out and told me I got 2.5 hours to put a bow on this and end this, I would take that in a heartbeat.
I would too. Again, it kind of goes to what I was saying a minute ago about like what the whiteboards, as they were, that lay it all out. And of course, there's a version of that we haven't seen. It's like the updated version of what he would do now, and he's probably even made tweaks and adjustments to that since. If they said, okay, we're going to put a bow on this, but we're not going to give you like 5 more movies. We're gonna just funnel it all down into like one final, just like here's the last chapter. I'll take it. I will happily take it.
Personally, my suggestion is to do the comic book first because it gives you the entire story. You do not have to abbreviate the story. See, if we would take this, and I would take it immediately if we got that 2.5 hour movie and that's it. But my preference, if I had to in front of me, what format gives me everything, fulfills the story to its zenith. You know what I mean? To where I get that Battle of Themyscira, where I get that Green Lantern story, where I get that Martian Manhunter development, where I get all that. What format gives me the best way to get all that and guaranteed to get all that? I would go with the graphic novel format. And plus, like I said, it's a comic book movie. Now, that would, like I said, once you put that on the table, you can get up and leave, and somebody else can come to the table, sit down, and say, "Wow, what the hell is this? Wow, this is really cool." But it's there. With the movie aspect of it, I'm dealing with funneling. I'm dealing with, even though I'm getting something spectacular, with the comic book, I'm getting everything. That's just me. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, fourth also, and yeah, that was the thing I was thinking too. It's like if this is Zack we're talking about, so if it was like a one-shot movie, it would be really long too. So I would expect it to be like, if they said, okay, we're giving you one movie to do this, and if that's the format it took, then I would expect it to be pretty long. So, but yeah, that's again, there's just so many questions, you to ponder and dissect out of this, and we're still waiting on, further information from the man himself and from the studios.
Yeah.
So,
Right now we talked 59 minutes about a lot of what we stretched very little information to about an hour. And like I said, I've been very careful this entire hour because I don't know. I could, like I said, I could wake up in 8 hours and be disappointed. I could wake up and be, thrilled. I could be left in limbo for them. My expectations right now are zero. My expectations are consistent when it comes to DC right now, and that they're low. They're really low. They could go up.
And when you talk about like the comic book idea, well, this might kind of break the idea of like doing it all. Like you get one shot, you get one, canvas to finish up your story here with if this is what's to come out of what this could be. But also it's like when you talk about like doing a comic form versus doing in serialized form, a movie form, animated form, those things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive either. I mean, what William talks about, it's like you put it in comic form, then it's like then you put it in a format that is that is the genesis of where these characters came from, and then once the story's out there, then it's like who knows what the possibilities could be as far as like where this could go from there. But you've got it out there in a form that William could personally profit from, but also it takes them back to the kind of the classical origins of them. It's putting this on paper. So there's one aspect of that, but there's also it could also be it might not even necessarily be like an either or with them. It's like, do you think that if let's say they did it in like a 4-hour movie, but what if the idea was like, let's do this movie, but also let's do like multiple comic book tie-ins with it? Is there
they could do that. The biggest question is, if you've gotten to that stage, that means you have a financer. You won't get to that stage until you have somebody that says, I'm going to put down the money for this. Warner Brothers, you get all the distribution rights. And when you say distribution rights, you own the IP. So any T-shirts, anything sold from this, any toys sold from that, they're going to get the lion's share, if not all of it. So what you're going to have to do to even entertain that is, who is the financier? Now, Legendary has a good relationship with Stone Quarry. It could be them, but somebody, because I don't see Warner Brothers, because of the situation that they're in right now, necessarily putting up the money that would be needed. I could see a third party doing it and them getting the rights off of, all the other details. As long as Warner Brothers doesn't have to put up any major money, your possibilities are always there.
Well, that's goes to what you said a minute ago about the possibility this could also be like intended for gathering data. Like, okay, we're gonna. How's it going, Gary? Or Gary or Jerry? This could be intended to gather data for. Okay, we're gonna put a bow on this, but we're gonna have somebody else do it.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, and like I said, it could all be the negotiating price. So somebody like Amazon could we want more DC content. We want our own. We want DC content that's not that we can access anytime we want to without messing with your shit over there on the big screen. And we have trillions. We could buy our own solar system. So what do you have to sell us? And if you're Warner Brothers, I'm like, okay, I got this thing that we have here. Maybe you could do something with it as long as we get paid and it's on your thing. What do you want to do? And like I said, the confusion aspect, we're done with that. I hope that we've all recollected our brain cells and we're stopping with the confusion aspect, because nobody's going to be confusing Cape Crusader with anything else that's gone on animation wise or anything else with Batman. We're all not stupid, so we're all going to enjoy that and its own thing. So I say it could be everything is negotiation. Everything is data. Everything is finding out whether there's an argument to be made for doing this. And why not? This is not going to cost you very much, if anything at all. You already have the movie. There's no production cost. If it's a one night, that means it's like a Fathom event where there won't be a lot of promotion coming out of the studio's pocket, if any. It's all on top, And
it could very well be that. It could be like a nationwide thing, but it is one night. And again, with that, you definitely aren't going to get blockbuster numbers out of that, but you are going to get numbers. You are going to get data that you could then extrapolate to say, okay, what would this mean, if this had been released under normal circumstances, and how does this stack up with the data we already have with every other format that we have released the movie in?
Yeah. I heard this spot up today. we just discussed for an hour business reasons why Zack Snyder's Justice League gets even in this conversation today. I haven't heard any for this, and I could be 100% wrong. I think the Ayer cut is a pipe dream until at least 2026.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, could this, doing well, could this then make a business case for that?
I don't see it simply because what business case would be made? See, I mean, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying I'm asking myself what business case can be made. Zack Snyder's Justice League has become the Yeti, the Bigfoot, and everything else. David Ayer's Suicide Squad, a movie that was successful in its form that it was released in the theaters, made way more money than it was supposed to. I don't see them going back to that. Well, they're not going to see something that needed to be, corrected to that. I mean, and you're going to get mass eyeballs on Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's in conversations that people don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. They're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Outside of us, where's the traction for that for David Ayers? We're not enough. I just don't see the business sense in doing it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. If it happens, I'm like, hey, congratulations. There's a reason why that hasn't happened already. I don't see a business reason until 2026 when you want to release the 10th anniversary. But if you release that, remember the purpose of that movie was to introduce two characters that would be brought in down the line in the Zack Snyder's Justice League arc. And if we're not now, if you tell me that we're going to finish that arc somewhere and their involvement is going to be what it was meant to be, now you have a narrative and business reason to do that. You need more than a fanboy reason to greenlit the Ayer cut. It's I'd love to see it. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I had a good time at the original movie, but knowing what Joker and Harley Quinn became, I would like to see what he was pushing them towards. But I don't see any business reason right now at this moment. And if they do it, I would, it would be because, like I said, I need, nobody's ever bought up a non-fanboy reason for the Ayer cut. I just, and this is not me hating on it. I'm just, like I said, speaking the language of the people you want something from. What language are you speaking?
RJ is agreeing with you here when he says the best chance for the Ayer cut to come out is 2026 or the 10-year anniversary of the film if they feel they can push Blu-ray sales or something else.
Exactly. There's no other reason. Well, I think we should see his vision. I'm like, that's a fanboy reason. That's not a dollars and cents reason. And like I said, I know I'm going to get in. You hate it? No, I don't, dude. David Ayer's great. David Ayers just made one of my favorite movies of this year.
Yeah.
So no, but when we're talking about this is where the friction becomes, because like I said, fanboy logic and bank accounts are not the same all the time. Now, like I said, story and narrative wise, if you said that when we're going to put a bow on this, we're going to include Harley Quinn and what Joker's relationship and all this is, then yes, because that movie is relevant to that.
By the way,
absent that, I don't know how we get this.
Something else I thought of too when talking about like if this is like the measuring stick they use to decide how and when, what format, what shape, what runtime, whatever, to conclude Zack Snyder's story. One component of that also we'll go ahead and answer this and I'll get back to that.
You don't see reason to re-release a film that was successful for further. Yeah, but you're talking about releasing his cut. I mean, why are you doing that? That's what I mean. You're asking the wrong guy, because I'm not going to pay 1 cent for it. It's not my money. So if you're telling somebody now you would have to, are you going to do this one day? Is that even going to be worth it for a film that's like a quarter of the size and draw that Justice League would be, Zack Snyder's Justice League would be? Or are you going to put this in wide release? And if so, are you going to pay the not distribution, but are you paying the marketing for it? I mean, are you just going to be putting it on streaming? And if so, who's putting up the money for it? And the kind of question I'm going to ask, and devil's advocate, is if I'm putting up the money for David Ayer's Suicide Squad, where am I going with this? Is this just some one-shot thing you want me to pay money for and it just gets buried? Or is this going to connect to something else? Because if I'm Amazon or whoever would be footing the money for any continuation, I would want that as I need that answer. Because if I'm Warner Bros. And say, hey, well, we'll give you the distribution, or give you the rights, not distribution, to make David Ayer's, original format of the movie. That only makes sense if you're going to give me the full breadth of the storyline. That conversation that he's having at the end of Zack Snyder Justice League, that involves Harley Quinn, that involves Robin, that involves the Joker. So I need to know that if we're going forward with that, then yes. If not, then there's no reason for it.
And who else it involves, and this goes to the point I was making a minute ago, it also involves Deathstroke. And the reason I bring that up is because another component of the what remains of the story that we haven't seen is Ben Affleck's Batman movie. So when that's one thing when we talk about how if they decide, okay, you get a one kind of plate or one kind of canvas to put this all out in, if the idea is okay, we're going to funnel the JL 2 and 3 into one big epic, could you ever see them also kind of doing the same, kind of incorporating Ben Affleck's Batman story into that?
No. Droga, once again, love you, man. You are not qualified to make that statement. You're qualified to make that as an opinion, but you are not qualified. I am not qualified. Brad is not qualified. No fanboy that's not inside of a boardroom laying down money is qualified to say this and have it mean anything. We don't know one way or another. It's an opinion. You could throw that out there, and like I said, what are opinions? They're like assholes. Everybody has them. Has one, but you're and this is the biggest problem when it comes to these guys that come at people about this. None of them are qualified. You're qualified to have an opinion, but not every opinion is relevant to the decision maker. You don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know what's going to happen because we are not qualified to make those kind of.
We don't even know what's going to happen with this.
Exactly.
That's why we're talking about for an hour and still not doing anything but theorizing.
So anybody who tells you, well, something's never going to happen, it's not going to happen in this forum, you just remember, you are more than welcome to that opinion, but realize where your qualifications are. That's like me going up to a chief engineer and NASA and saying, I don't think you can get this fixed and get it for launch tomorrow. I'm not qualified to make that. I can say that. My opinion is there, but up against the people who actually know what they're doing or are inside the room where it's happening, it's like a fool. So I would refrain from everybody, one way or another. Don't jump to any conclusions one way or another, whether you don't think anything ever is going to happen or whether you think it's going to happen. You do not have the qualifications to say anything beyond an opinion. That's it. All right, next one.
Well, Clint is. We all know Clint. Everybody except nobody but Clint.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, Clint, I hope because he mentioned in the comments.
He's not feeling too well.
So
everybody wish the Duckman
get well soon, man.
Get well.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can gnaw on this bone anymore with the information we have, and not repeat ourselves too much. But yeah, it's very exciting. You have a possibility that we could have the chance to see this movie that we had to fight so long for to in a theatrical setting, even if it's a one weekend or even one night thing, that still opens up anybody, including myself.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but it's better than nothing. It's better than it's more than what we had on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think it's very rational to look at this, if this is what they're doing, and say this is an attempt either to announce some vehicle of concluding the story, or it's a methodology of gathering the data to determine how best they can do that. I do think those are perfectly logical, and again, I do lean slightly more towards the second one, but I could see the reasoning behind both of them. So we just we're just gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait and see when we get more info from the studio, from the man himself, and but it was exciting to wake up to see that, definitely, and so it's exciting to see where this development could go.
I woke up and when I saw because I saw it through your message, and I'm like, okay, And I just wondered how I wanted to approach this, because I wanted to approach this pragmatic. I wanted to approach this with
Yeah,
a practical.
I messaged, I DM'd William when I saw this. And I was like, well, I guess we got our topic covered tonight.
Yeah. And I didn't know how much I wanted to talk about it with very little info, because, like I said, this is we have almost nothing to go with, and this could go nowhere. But once again, you have factors in there that say it's going to go a little bit further than nowhere. How far, we don't know yet. And like I said, nobody should say this is never going to happen, or this is not going to happen. This will never do this, or somebody will never work with somebody else again. Everything that the fanboys have said that was never going to happen ends up happening. If you notice, if for the last 5 to 6 years, everything that fans have said, "Oh, it's never going to happen," has ended up happening.
Didn't always happen overnight, but it happened.
But you know, like I said, I would hope that we can see beyond a few feet in front of us, and, you know, look at the long form of things. And I've always said, patience. I mean, being able to outwait situations is a virtue, because one day things gonna be like, oh, this sucks. We could never, you know, the tempers are flaring and the money's not there, the negotiation's not there. So that's one day. The next day, things are fall into place. You know, never paint yourself into a corner that you can't negotiate your way out of. So, all right. The other topic I had was
that was again, we get one post from Zack, and this is the mileage you can get out of it. So,
all right. So
yeah, I knew you were gonna bring this up. Yeah.
And Paramount merge. I don't know if I even want that, but
we had some good commentary on that in the chat.
All right, real quick, because then we're almost wrapping it up here. Warner Brothers Discovery has indicated early interest in exploring a partnership with Paramount Global to combine WBD's Max and Paramount. If I'm Paramount Max, by the way, I say fuck no unless you add HBO back to it. Paramount Global, after its controlling shareholders Sherry Redstone scrapped merger talks with Skydance Media last month, is proceeding under a new strategic plan under 3 CEOs to slash costs, explore the sale of certain assets, and accelerate the profitability of Paramount Plus via a possible joint venture with another player. One potential streaming dance partner for Paramount is Warner Brothers Discovery. A source confirmed WBD's preliminary interest in evaluating a streaming JV joint venture with Paramount Global, as it's first reported by CNBC. Of course, it's not a surprise that Warner Brothers Discovery would at least look into the feasibility of a streaming joint venture with Paramount, given how public Paramount Global's leadership team has been about their desire to land a partner. At this point, the situation more or less involves each company kicking the tires on what such a partnership could look like. Reps for Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global declined comment, of course. That means we're talking. At Paramount Global's June 25th employee town hall meeting, Chris McCarthy, one of the members of the three-headed office of CEO, Showtime, MTV Entertainment Studios, and Paramount Media Networks, discussed 2 potential streaming partnerships. The first option is to enter a deep, long-term relationship with a leading technology platform, which already has a full scale that we're trying to obtain. But what they don't have is our scale of content, and together we will make for a very powerful combination to drive more minutes and greater profits, McCarthy told employees at the town hall. And this would allow us to focus greater percent of our budget on the things we do best, making hit content. The second type of partnership Paramount Global is exploring involves joining forces with one or more SVOD players. McCarthy said the sheer volume of hit content that we could offer together, and we tremendous across TV, film, and sports, and would attract millions of viewers. Plus, we would share all other non-content expenses. That's a good one. McCarthy said that the great news is that there is tremendous interest in partnering with us across both of these strategic options, given the strength of our content, the volume of our hits, and the industry leading track record. Separately, a recent investment conference, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav and said the company will be opportunistic in seeking a M&A mergers and acquisition deals in the next 2 or 3 years. Nobody fucking here 2 or 3 years, your ass won't be there. There are a lot of players that are losing a lot of money, Zaslav said on May 30th. At the Bernstein's 40th anniversary strategic decisions conference. There will be some players who want to get out of the business that will look to consolidate their streaming businesses with others, he said, adding that he believes there will be 4 or 5 dominant global streaming platforms when things shake out. Paramount earlier discussed. Okay, this is we've already talked about that. It makes, like I said before, when they were talking about merging the companies. with the libraries that both of them have, it makes sense to be able to, neither one of them have to shoulder the full brunt of cost. So like I said, but that was a lot of talking. I don't know where they're at in discussions as far as how far they are at, because like I said, Paramount Global needs it. Well, Warner Brothers Discovery needs it too, but they need to be able to produce content and have the backing of both companies behind it. So Paul, super chat.
Yeah, well, real quick before we go any further, because I saw these comments before you even pulled up. If WB and Paramount want to fuse, I thought to Aaron because he knows how to do the fusion dance.
Oh my god!
And Aaron's replied, "Well, if I find a part." Yeah, Aaron of course showed off the Dragon Ball fusion.
Yeah, we got to get you some lighting in there. So
yeah,
when you do your crazy stuff, we can see it.
But Paul, thank you for the super chat, man. Sir, could ZSJL be done in 2 parts, released over 2 months? How long? Are you talking about like a ZSJL continuation or the release? Because they put the movie out in theaters. They're not splitting out into 2 parts. I mean, they might have intermission, but it's
you damn sure got an intermission because I got to pee.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be like we release like the first half of the movie one night and then no, they're gonna play it the whole way through.
If you're talking about a continuation, yeah, you could do that. It would be cheaper if this is an if, because I'm not saying that this could happen. This is probably the least feasible option, because now you're talking about laying down a lot of money, depending. And like I said, in order to get to that conversation, who's putting up the money? But then again, that could be why we're doing this, to justify somebody putting up the money. Somebody could be saying, "Oh, I'm not going to put." Oh, no. Okay, great. So if we're talking about a continuation, in order to even get to that, I need to know who's putting down the money for all of this and what format. This to me would be like, if I'm that guy with that wallet out, I need to see that this is viable, and maybe that's part of this. But yeah, if you were to do it like that, once you found the financier, it would be, if you were, I'm okay with just one. If you were going to do this, it would be cheaper to do it back to back, because you're getting everybody there all at once, everything else. But once again, you'll know when we're somewhere solid when you start hearing about a production company or somebody putting up money for this. Yeah. Then you're beyond just a rumor.
Yeah. Well,
thank you for the support, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, talking about like back-to-back filming, it's like, you save time on scheduling people, because you just knock it all out in one shot, and that actually saves you money. I mean, Zack, when he did the Rebel Moon, both of them back-to-back for Netflix, I mean, that actually saved them a lot of money. You get like tax credits off of that. There's so many different. It's a big cost cut measure. So it's like that's actually, it's a very economical way to do it when you're doing a back to back. If it were to be a 2-part thing, but again, that's all speculation.
Yeah, once again, that is all me blowing out of my. I don't know. I'm just answering your question, Paul. If that were the case, filming back to back is always the best way to do it. Back to the Future was one of the first movies to do it. They did 2 and 3 back to back, and it saves the Mechas a shit ton of cash. So yeah, I always said that Dune should have done that, but Warner Brothers wasn't sure of themselves. They did not know if Dune was going to make the kind of money, and it wasn't until well into Dune's streaming numbers, when they started to get those back, that's when they decided to greenlight Dune 2. I thought they should have done it back to back.
All right, see you, RJ.
All right, see you later, man. I think that's about it for us. I think that
Yeah, because again, it's like we really went down a rabbit hole based on like one Vero post and a Fandango.
And that's 100% Brad's fault right there, buddy.
Yeah, blame Brad. Yeah, so, well, can I at least get the blame if we actually get the conclusion of the Snyderverse? Can I take the blame for that?
Well,
okay,
dude, I would. Here's the thing, though, and I would love to wake up in a world where we got the resolution of this, and it's bound to the beginning of this.
The beginning of his, yeah.
It would be so good, because I would feel so much better about this whole thing, because now I have lineage. Now I have a brand new guy can come, and he has his entire lineage of DC. It's worth it now for them. I have people who have been on this and watched this and have seen every DC movie and are ready to see this. They're just not going to go through the motions to see James Gunn's thing just because it's got an S on it. They're actually going to go into that with like, what's next? That's where I want a DC fan to feel. What's next? Excited about what's next instead of skeptical. And if they were to do this, if they were to resolve this, conclude this, and do it seamlessly to where they're in, they've launched it, I'm okay with going forward with you on this road. Because I can trust you now.
Yeah.
Right now, I have scars, man. I have scars.
Yeah. So. we could be back on here tomorrow talking about the full scope of the news about whatever this is going to lead to, or we could still be waiting like a couple more weeks or just whenever they decide.
Yeah.
The info, but no, it's and yeah, this is a little bit of a haiku you wrote for us here. Trying to ban the endless as possible. So trying to, yeah, you wrote like a riddle here, man. I don't know what this is about.
Nah, some shit we just don't talk about. Some shit we just don't talk about.
Aaron also.
I hit it at the same time.
William, great news today. SGW in Uganda has been given a TV deal with NBS TV in Uganda today.
Yeah, nobody but me and her is going to know who that is, but that's very cool. And they've gotten support from like across the wrestling world. I've seen people, and that's cool because it's they're wrestling. They're wrestling on these sets. It's soft ground. They're literally wrestling on the ground. Now they're getting stuff. They're getting rings and stuff to do it safely. Now they got a TV deal. Fucking Ring of Honor ain't even got a TV deal anywhere. So hey, that's big news. So yeah, that's cool. I've been following the progress of that, and I'm glad to see that happen. I'm glad to see that people who do wrestling enjoy seeing it thrive all over the world. Because like I said, I grew up when we just got called weirdos. Unless we were at an arena or watching it with a brother, we just got weirdos. Oh, that's fake. Yeah, no, it's fake. So is your show you're watching. All right, you think she's really screwing that guy? It's a job for her. You know what? So you think that guy blew up? You just saw him on another show. It's all fake. It's entertainment. But you know what? There's no stuntman for my wrestlers. Nobody stands in for Zack Sabre Jr. when he goes flying off the top rope. When they start doing these high, shooting star presses off of the ring posts and stuff like that, the lights don't go out, and there's like a lookalike that comes in and finishes the move. So I'll take my entertainment. But yeah, I'm glad to see wrestling where it is today, and that soft ground thing is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, they're saying it's a Matrix spoon quote. Oh okay, but you're applying it to the ban list, so it's like. Yeah, this is the whole thing about the what truth there is no spoon. It's like but okay, but you plug it into the ban list, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, man.
Yeah, now you've given it's like when you guys type shit in the chat and I read it and you laugh at me for like, oh, I didn't mean you to read it that way. I'm like, I don't know, it's just words on the screen. Saying the reboot was the dumbest idea. For what is he talking? What are you talking?
Oh, they're talking back and forth amongst themselves about about.
Oh yeah, well you know how I feel about reboots. But once again, if you don't feel like you want to continue in this way, at least end it. That's all I'm saying. I completely understand, James. I can understand it. But on the other hand, the other side, as a consumer, I'm like, I understand. While I understand you, doesn't mean I want to give you my money yet until I can trust you. So, would not mind Twilight of the Gods with a similar tone to Kirby Thor and the New Gods. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be actually probably kind of cool. I want a little bit more. I want violence. Because I think the story of Ragnarok is not told with the blood and guts that I really want to see. All right, check out EgyptianTheaters.com.
Yeah. Well, I got it up, so I'll pull it up right here. It's got the whole schedule of it's called it's the Epic Worlds of Zack Snyder is the marathon they're going to be doing with it. So pull up here.
Like I said, that shit it's only 516 seats at the Egyptian, so that's not a lot. That's not a lot for something like this, especially in a major city like LA.
Yeah, so they'll be showing. It's all starting on July 29th. So they'll be showing 300. Director's Cuts of Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead, Army of the Dead.
That's a Sunday, right? No,
it's a Monday.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, I definitely couldn't have gone.
Yeah. It's Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Justice Gray, and on Saturday that's when they're showing the Director's Cuts of Rebel Moon.
Now I wish that. Now is that going to get anything? Are we going to be able to go see that anywhere, or is that just going to be strictly on?
I don't think there's anything. I think this might be just kind of like a one-off for the Director's Cuts for Rebel Moon there. So this might be the extent of its theatrical engagement.
So what we're gonna do is that's when we're gonna start our thing, and then it's gonna run to when is Twilight of the Gods release date?
That is September 19th.
So from August 4th, August 3rd, we'll do our watch along. Obviously, we're going to be watching it, and our watch along will start. We'll bring up the good old. We'll fire up the old Tiltify thing again, and Ooh, they changed the background. But yeah, we'll fire it up again and we'll raise some money. Have some fun.
Definitely will. I'm sure you guys. I'm sure. I guess is that where we plug in Cat in the Hat on my latest torture session, or you want to get out of the way beforehand?
Nah,
I say if I got to suffer through a terrible movie, let's at least raise some money for charity out of it.
I don't think we're gonna see jail dark characters unless they are through Guns first, because they're more lined up with what he's doing than anything else. So. Okie dokie, guys. That's it. That's all I got in my system for tonight.
Yeah, but yes, as we mentioned Ruth earlier, next watch party, Independence Day on Independence Day. So watch out for that. Come aboard. As I say, it ain't Independence Day without Independence Day. It doesn't even matter if you're living stateside or not. It's like everybody in the world should be doing a watch party of Independence Day on July 4th.
Well, yeah, because those aliens invaded the world. They didn't just invade the United
Exactly.
States. So there we go. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and then after that, and we'll just go from there. See you.
All right. There, guys.
What is it? What is it, Samir?
We about to get another $100 after the show donation in the super chat?
No, I just don't like. I don't like being left hanging. What is it, Samir? What is it? It
just
better be something.
We just did a whole string about not liking left hanging. Yeah.
Samir.
Yeah.
Don't do that to us. All right, Samir. To time your ass out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Since Samir has nothing to say.
There, guys.
We're going to leave for good now.